When I was just getting started growing and selling cut flowers, I was very selective of the things that I bought. In full transparency, I just didn't have the extra money to invest in things that weren't 100% absolutely necessary. What's more, growing flowers for me, it was something that started as a hobby. You know, I never intended to make a profit off the flowers that I grew, and for that reason especially, I just couldn't justify spending money that I didn't have. Over the years though, my collection of tools and gadgets, things that not only helped me to grow flowers, but also helped me to grow my business, well, that collection has certainly grown. Now, with the holidays having just recently passed, I figured that right about now, you may have a few extra gift cards sitting in your wallet, or maybe you have profits from last season that you're looking to reinvest back into your business for this coming year. Well, that's why in this video, I want to share the surprisingly helpful tools that have been my most loved purchases over the past few years. I hope that by sharing what's worked well for me, you'll avoid spending unnecessary money on those less than helpful tools that usually wind up just collecting dust in the corner of your garage. Trust me, we've all been there. So if you're ready, let's jump right into it and get started. Now, before we get too far, I do want to clarify that the things I'm about to share with you are things that I bought after purchasing the more essential pieces of equipment that I needed to grow flowers. So in my early years, my priority was buying the absolute necessities, which for me were things like seeds and seed starting equipment. You know, the wires, seed starting racks, the grow lights, and the seed trays. And if you're in this beginning phase yourself right now, well, you can find all of that type of equipment in plenty of my previous videos. It wasn't until I had really a firm foundation of the basic sort of tools that I began purchasing these more novelty items. These tools that, while useful and helpful in streamlining my flower growing process, they weren't make it or break it type items that the success of my flower farm depended on. I don't want to mislead you down this path thinking that you absolutely need all the same equipment that I have in order to have a successful flower farm. That's simply not true. I just want to share what's helped me in hopes that you too will be helped by these same resources. So let's start first with this unexpected favorite. I have come to truly love this portable potting bench that I purchased off of Amazon. Now, don't worry, you don't need to take notes. I will include links to not only this product, but all of the products I'll be sharing down in the description box below, so you can easily reference them there, just an FYI. Now with this first one, you're probably going to laugh at me, because I've always been one of those people that have never understood the need for a potting bench. Like, why would I need one when I can just throw my potting soil in a wheelbarrow and dish it out from there? And truly the wheelbarrow method has worked so well for me, because if you know me or you know how I operate, then you probably already know that I do not have any sort of dedicated grow space. Like, I don't work out of a greenhouse or any other sort of permanent structure. Most of the time when I need workspace, I just work out of my garage using folding tables and, like I said, a wheelbarrow to hold my potting soil. It's simple, it's always been effective, and better yet, everything either folds down or can be easily wheeled away when I need to actually use my garage for normal sort of stuff. You know, like parking my car in there. But I found over the years, when I'm not trying to knock out a full day's worth of work, I can easily procrastinate even the most simple of tasks. Like, I know this about myself, it's just a fact. Those smaller tasks, like starting just 1 or 2 seed trays rather than 20, or pre-sprouting my ranunculus corms, are things that I can easily put off simply because the thought of creating a large mess in my garage, well, it felt like an overwhelmingly large production. And that's truly why I'm so in love with this tray. It's lightweight and portable enough that I can carry soil to wherever I'm working. I can bring soil downstairs into my basement, and I can work out of there while maintaining a clean workspace. I even will bring this tray into my kitchen during the colder winter months, and I'll pot up my amaryllis bulbs, you know, into their containers without having to stand and freeze in the cold, unheated garage, you know, just so that I don't make a mess. For me, I love how this tray is sturdy enough that the soil actually stays within the boundaries of the container. I also love how it's small enough that it can easily be stored when not in use. But it's not so small where I feel like I'm constantly refilling it with more potting soil. You know, in my opinion, this tray, it's just the perfect size. Small enough that it's convenient to have around, and still large enough where it's useful. I've gotten a lot of use out of this tray over the year that I've owned this, and it's definitely something that I recommend. I think growers of all sizes can get a lot of use out of this one tray. Okay, sticking with the sort of seed starting theme, this dibbler tray is another tool that I have gotten a surprising amount of use out of. In fairness, I will admit that this tray was an impulse purchase, and I can't even remember how I came across this item. I swear it must have been like a recommended product when I was checking out on Amazon, because I wasn't intentionally seeking this product out. Now, however it came to me, it's irrelevant now because I use this dibbler tray all the time. So if we take a closer look, all this is a hardened piece of plastic. There's handles on top for you to grip. And then on the bottom here, it has these sturdy pegs that when inserted into a 72 seed cell seed tray, it will indent the soil, creating space for you to drop your seeds into each cell. Now, in the past, I've simply taken my finger or the end of a Sharpie marker and I individually indent each cell when I'm planting seeds. I then drop the seeds inside and cover my holes with more potting soil before moving on to the next tray. In the grand scheme of things, the time I save using this dibbler tray versus individually indenting each cell myself, I will admit it probably only saves me a minute or two of time. But here's the thing. When you multiply that across the hundreds of trays that I plant in a season, suddenly that time saved adds up to a significant number. And that's what I love. This tray streamlines my seed starting process and ultimately just helps me to plant more seeds in less time. This dibbler specifically is designed to work with this 72 cell tray, which is what I use to start probably, 95% of our seeds. If you use a different size tray, you would need a dibbler tray that matches your desired cell tray size. I have used this same dibbler tray with not just my more standard 72 cell seed trays, but I also use it with the 72 cell air prune trays that I purchased from Bootstrap Farmer last year. And the dibbler tray matches up great with both configurations. Though sometimes I do notice that the indent on the air prune trays is placed more towards the edge of the soil, whereas it's pretty center with the standard trays, just something to be aware of. The planting depth of this dibbler tray is really great for your larger seeds, meaning when I fully press the dibbler tray into my soil, the resulting indent is what I use to plant large seeds like zinnias, cosmos, sunflowers. If you want a more shallow indent, the only way you'll be able to control that is by not pressing down as hard on the tray. So for things like basil or celosia, where I want my seeds closer to the surface, I press more lightly on the tray, and that works well enough for me. Overall, I think this dibbler tray is a great, inexpensive buy that will help you be more productive with your seed starting endeavors. Especially if you're a small or medium scale grower that hasn't worked up to the need for a more expensive vacuum seeder. This tray is really a great intermediate step that will save you time and money. Now the next tool or group of tools is truthfully what finally gave me the confidence to grow spring flowers. And that's a bold claim, I know. But here's the thing, I have always loved spring flowers, things like ranunculus, anemones, and tulips. But I've always felt intimidated because I was so unsure if I could provide them with the necessary growing conditions to flourish and thrive. I mean, starting warm, loving, tender annuals in my kitchen, prior to our last spring frost is one thing. I always knew that these sort of seeds would be forgiving enough that they would do fine with whatever temperature my house maintained in the winter. But creating sort of microclimates for cool season things left a little bit more doubt in my mind. I mean, I had the space where I could be a little resourceful and grow things in crates in the empty stall of my 2-stall garage. But with the garage being unheated and me living in West Michigan, where the temperatures can dip quite low in the winter, how cold was it really in there? The same thing with my basement. It's a cooler, unheated area of my home. Would the difference in temperature be enough where I could somehow grow a cooler season crop, during the earliest parts of the year? Now I wish it hadn't taken me so long, but I finally set up temperature sensors within my different spaces, and my whole perspective on growing spring crops, it changed because suddenly I had real life factual data to back up my suspicions. My garage and basement, they could both supply adequate growing conditions for some early season flowers when it was otherwise too cold to grow anything outside. If you find yourself in a similar position where you're contemplating how to use the various spaces that you have available to you, do yourself a favor and get some temperature sensors so you can stop second guessing yourself. So what I have are these temperature sensors. They run on 2 AA batteries, and I place them within the different grow spaces that I want to monitor. The sensors communicate wirelessly to a weather station that I keep on my kitchen counter. Now, my specific weather station allows me to connect and monitor 3 different spaces at once. So I have 3 channels on my weather station, each that can connect to its own separate sensor that I then place where I want. I enjoy being able to scan the various channels on my weather station right there in my kitchen, and I can know the humidity and the temperature of those grow spaces. I like having that information in one place rather than having to go to each space and individually read out a more traditional temperature and or humidity monitor. It's just easier having all that information in one place. What's really cool too is that most of these weather stations can then connect to an app on your phone, and you can receive real-time data from the various areas of your flower farm by simply glancing at your phone. Now, in full disclosure, my specific weather station model, it's so old that it has since been retired and it does not connect via app to my phone. But I believe all of the newer models that this company offers does have that handy phone connect feature, so you can see what's going on at home even when you're not there. Now, I do know from seeing the app, which a friend of mine has, that you can even use that app to set alerts for when sensor readouts, go above or below predetermined temperatures. So maybe you set an alert for yours to notify you when the temperature in your high tunnel gets too warm. This could be a good way for you to be notified of when you should vent your tunnel so that you don't smother your plants to death. Or similarly, maybe you set an alert to let you know if or when your dahlia storage place gets below freezing. Again, this could be a great way for you to potentially avoid loss of your dahlia tubers from improper storage. There's really a bunch of different ways that you could put these temperature sensors to work for you. And if maintaining a certain temperature is really important to you, you could take this one step further. I use not only these lacrosse temperature humidity sensors, but in spaces where I need to maintain a certain range of temperature, like in my basement where I'm forcing all of our tulips this winter season, I'll use an Inkbird digital temperature controller in combination with a small greenhouse heater. Now I know this probably sounds like a lot, but it's really a straightforward and simple setup that allows me to grow so much more than I thought possible on my small flower farm. So the Inkbird is a thermostat controller. It senses temperature. And yes, you can even purchase Inkbirds with humidity sensors as well, but mine senses temperature. And it turns the outlet for my small greenhouse heater on or off when the temperature falls below the acceptable range of temps that I have set for myself. So as you can see, there's also an outlet for cooling. So if instead of trying to keep an area on your farm from getting too cold, you could keep an area from getting too warm by using this Inkbird with a cooling unit. Or if humidity was especially important to you, like for a lot of growers that store large amounts of dahlia tubers, you could use an Inkbird with a humidity sensor to turn on or off either a humidifier or dehumidifier depending on your unique circumstances. This combination of Inkbird controller with this small greenhouse heater means that I can easily maintain a minimally heated space on my farm without a lot of work. I love the peace of mind of not really having to do a lot because truthfully, once this is set up, unless I want to change the settings, I don't have to do any additional work. I love how this combination safeguards my tulips and gives me the peace of mind of knowing that I'm actually hitting those temperature targets that I'm after. Okay, so let's switch gears to one of my favorite tools that's not directly related to the growing of cut flowers. This one more so relates to the growing of my business. So if you watch some of my previous videos, you may already know this, but capturing beautiful flower content, whether that be photo or video, it has truly helped me to be able to better market my flowers to potential customers and expand the reach of my business. Now, I don't know about you, but one of the things that always catches my eye and that inspires me is seeing that flat lay work that is often shared by other flower farmers across social media. There's something so stunningly beautiful about these sort of images, at least to me. Now, over the seasons, I've sort of dabbled myself with capturing photos and video from overhead, but I've just never really had a great setup for it. To me, the process has always felt clumsy. I was always trying to stand on my tiptoes and hold the camera, level above whatever I was trying to capture. It was just a mess. And then I found this tripod that is not only just a really great like heavy duty phone tripod, but it's also a tripod that has an extendable boom arm, which makes capturing flat lay work so much easier. The video content that you see here, these are just a few examples of what I was able to capture using this tripod. I think the flexibility of being able to capture something from a fresh perspective and an all-around unique angle is fun. And I think too, it's something that your social media community might enjoy. You know, seeing something a little different from the norm. Even if flat lay work isn't something of particular interest to you, this tripod adjusts in so many unique ways. It swivels and rotates and it tilts. It has a lot of versatility to it. And I can see this being helpful across a wide variety of situations. Personally, I've been on the hunt for a tripod like this for a while now, but tripods like this, especially ones with this horizontal boom arm, are usually on the pricier side. This specific tripod at the time of filming this video clocks in at just under $50, which in my opinion is a steal of a deal. However, to be fair, I do think a large reason for this is because this tripod is only compatible with phones. So as you can see, it only has a phone holder attachment. There is no screw mount for you to attach an actual camera. Now you can still capture both vertical and horizontal video or photos as the phone holder does rotate, but I want to be clear that this is solely a phone tripod, nothing else. Okay, while we're on the subject of business tools, I have to share another favorite of mine, which has been my Rollo thermal printer. Now, originally I wanted this printer as it was a goal of mine to serve a greater reach of customers by offering shipping on some of our products this year. So during our fall bulb sale, we were able to serve more customers by shipping our tulip and daffodil bulbs. During our winter season, the same thing. We were able to serve more customers by shipping our wreath kits and even our amaryllis bulbs across the United States. From everything that I have researched about small business shipping, the consensus seems to be that I would need a thermal printer to print shipping labels quickly and easily at home. And this Rollo printer has worked great for that purpose. However, I was not expecting this printer to have uses beyond just shipping. And so you can imagine I was pleasantly surprised to find that I could use it to add customized stickers to just about anything. Now to make sure that we're on the same page, let me be clear. A thermal printer does not use ink. Like its name implies, it relies on heat and applies that heat to heat-sensitive paper, which in turn creates your designs on your labels for you. What this means is that the only color your printer prints out is in black. Now you can introduce different colors to your labels and stickers by printing on colored ones, which I will get to in just a moment, but the print itself will be black. Now the advantage to all of this is that since you're not having to purchase ink cartridges, this way of printing can be quite cost effective because once you have your printer, the only additional purchase you need are the labels or stickers that you intend to print on. And these labels are usually between, 2 and 7 cents each, depending on if you buy in bulk and what sort of label you're printing on. So yes, we print plenty of shipping labels with this Rollo printer, but I also use this printer to print circle stickers and use those stickers on our bouquet sleeves. I use the circle labels to differentiate, the different tulip and daffodil varieties that we were selling this past fall. I also use it to create customized labels for our amaryllis bulbs. I love that whenever I need a design, I can easily create it in Canva and I just print it out on my thermal printer. It's a really inexpensive way to dress up my products and ensure that I can put my branding just about anywhere. When I first started growing flowers, I had looked at getting customized circle stickers for our bouquet sleeves, ordering them from a company and having them sent to me. And while you may get a few more color ink choices when you use a company that prints your stickers for you, I personally think that this thermal printer gives me still a very beautiful result at a fraction of the price. Back in the day, I ultimately chose not to include stickers on my bouquet sleeves because the cost was too high. And I actually ended up stamping our bouquet sleeves with our logo because the rubber stamp was reusable. Having the option to have customized stickers for about 3 or 4 cents a piece has been such a game changer for me, and I know that I will continue to find more uses for this thermal printer the longer that I have it. The only thing that I would change about my current thermal printer is that I do wish I would have opted for this slightly more expensive wireless option. The printer I have now, while less expensive, it does need to plug into my computer via a USB cord. Sometimes I wish I could move my computer elsewhere without having to also move my thermal printer with me. Now, in the grand scheme of things, it's a small inconvenience, but I'm just being completely honest here. So nothing would round out this list of flower-related Amazon favorites better than the flower-related books that I have collected through the years. In full disclosure, I own an embarrassingly large number of flower books. And rather than have you sit through me explaining why I love each and every single one of them, I'll make it easier on us both. I've actually shared all of my favorite flower farming books, and I've even broken them down by category, and I compiled that list in an easy-to-reference post on my blog. You'll find a link to that exact blog post in the description box below. And in case you're not big on reading, let me encourage you to pick up the habit. Books are such a gift. I mean, really, a book is a small cost for the insane amount of information that you receive from it. What's more, books allow access to industry experts and people that you may not otherwise have access to. I personally find it so incredible that we can get a look at the thought process and learn from the strategies from so many insanely talented flower growers, florists, and more simply because they took the time to create a book on the topic. So don't sleep on books. That is my encouragement to you. So there you have it, the unique and slightly unconventional list of Amazon finds that have helped me to grow more flowers as well as to grow my business over the years. I hope that you found this video helpful, and if you did, I'd really appreciate you letting me know by giving this video a thumbs up. And if you have a favorite Amazon find that has helped in your flower growing journey, let us know about it by sharing it in the comments below. I've enjoyed hanging out with you today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye, guys.